Fish tanks are the most reliable archaeological markers when studying sea level variations. The Mediterranean is particularly suitable to run these fish tanks with its limited high and low tide. The Tyrrhenian Sea has a low tide of around 40 centimeters. However, because of high construction and maintenance costs, they were used for a relatively short period. Indeed, since their construction, they have been very closely connected to the tide and to sea level variations. According to Plinius and Columella, fish tanks were used as holding tanks, and fish farming was introduced between the end of the 2nd century and early 1st century BC. Archaeologists can precisely measure the ancient sea level of about 2,000 years ago and compare it to today's sea level. The crepidini running along the inner basins, which are sometimes paved, allowed people to carry out maintenance probably without getting wet. The top of the sliding grooves corresponds to the level of the lower grid. The upper crepidini was always out of the water in order to guarantee maintenance. The captation channels are at the bottom of the canals, which ensured that water refilled from the outside or from the basins. In most cases, these captation channels corresponded with the lower level of the grid. The canals were always submerged in the lower part, even during low tide, as this would guarantee the water supply flow. These fish tanks were used by rich Roman people to hold fresh fish to offer to their guests between 2100 and 1800 years ago. One of the most beautiful fish tanks, which is perfectly preserved, is at Punta della Vipera near Civitavecchia, 60 kilometers north of Rome. 18 well-documented fish tanks have been recently re-examined and resurveyed on the Tyrrhenian Sea between Formia and Orbetello. Individual estimates for the observed increase in local sea levels range from minus 0.9 to minus 1.6 meters, with a mean value of minus 1.22 meters. There are several causes why sea levels have increased along this part of the coast, including land motion driven by tectonic and glacio-isostatic processes and any change in ocean volume.